Hey, what's up? Today's video is a little bit different than what I've been posting. I kind of wanted to give you guys a break so I can keep it fresh. I will still be continuing the top 5 worst series as I just concluded the top 5 best. Um, but today I kind of wanted to go over the state of the game as of the beginning of basically the beginning of May 2026. We're about a quarter of the way through, or over a quarter of the way through the year, and I kind of just wanted to go over the state of the game. That being said, a little bit of a disclaimer at the beginning of this video before we actually get into the meat and potatoes. I do have a challenge going on right now. I will have the video linked in the description. I believe I should. It is basically if I hit 500 subs before I can rank 5 my next champion, I will be allowing you guys to pick my rank 5. The way you guys enter your champion or vote on it is you go in the comments of that video, you comment which champion you want to be rank 5, or you vote for a champion in the comments. I will be picking that when I hit 500 subs, assuming we can hit 500 subs before I'll be able to rank 5 my next champion. That being said, we are just at 420 subs, which is absolutely insane. We have grown like 50 subs or something since that video. It's been nuts. But yeah, just a little bit of a disclaimer. Also, the top 5 series will be back tomorrow. I believe yesterday, the day of recording it, actually the skill video launched, but I always make these a day ahead. But yesterday, for you guys, the skill video launched, so we'll be continuing that after. But all that out of the way, let's get into it. So, I wanted to talk about the state of the game. I believe it is a very good idea to make one of these videos at least once a year or twice a year. I kind of wanted to give my feedback on the state of the game because I like to think of myself as closer to the average player as I can be. I do make content on this game. I have been making content regularly on this game, but I would like to say I'm way closer to the average player because that's what I've been for so long, and I still consider myself to be an average player as a streamer. I consider myself way closer to an average player more than a streamer or a content creator for this game. So I kind of wanted to give my thoughts and feedback on the state of the game because the only time you really ever see these videos are from the top streamers, which they have really, really good feedback because they know the game better than anybody, but I would also like to put in some input. So this is kind of what today's video is going to go over. It's a little bit different, but I thought it would be a good idea. So 2 minutes in, let's go ahead and hop in. So the first thing I actually want to talk about is probably one of the hottest topics right now. It has been ever since it launched, and it is 7-Star Ascension. So, 7-Star Ascension, I'll give you the rundown. It launched the beginning of March, I believe. I might be mistaken. Somebody please tell me in the comments. But basically, the way they marketed Ascension way back in November was kind of like 8 stars. They wanted Ascension to become 8 stars, and they didn't want to release 8 stars because they didn't want to make a whole new star level. They didn't want people to lose all their progression. I will tell you, back in November, I was not really too fond of that idea. I was perfectly fine with the normal 8-star progression once we have maxed out 7 stars. I think that's where we should go. That's what we've done for so long, and I think that system works. A lot of people might find it kind of old and nuanced, but I believe it is just, I find it super fun in the game to collect a new set of roster. It's kind of like restarting the game in a way. Not really, but that's kind of what it feels like to me. But this is basically what Ascension was meant to be. It's supposed to take place of 8 stars, so we don't have 8 stars for a long, long time, because Command really wants this game to last forever, and if we're on 10 stars in 5 years from now, I mean, the game's going to eventually, it's just going to slow down, people aren't going to play it anymore. But, kind of rundown, they announced that at Battlegrounds Brawl 2025 in November, and then the beginning of the year comes around. Then they give us this whole big rundown of how Ascension's going to work, and then I got really, really skeptical, because the more I thought about it and sit with it up until that point, which was January, I thought that 7-Star Ascension was actually, I was alright with it. I was starting to be keen on the idea of Ascension because 6-Star Ascension was great. It allowed 6 stars to be used at a higher level for way longer because it's basically just another rank on a 6-star. Any maxed out rank 5 6-star with Ascension is basically a rank 6 6-star, which almost scales in power level to a rank 3 7-star. There are a little bit of differences because of stat focus and all that, but basically your 6 stars are available to be used. In content today, you can still use 6 stars in a lot of content today. But, that being said, this is not how Ascension works with 7 stars. It is a completely different system. So they gave the whole rundown, and they gave the levels, and they said we are launching with 2 levels. There will be 11 levels. And already at that point right there, I was kind of like, I was checked. I was not with it because just the thought of 11 levels of Ascension to max out a champion, you already have to rank up a champion 6 times, and then you got to ascend them 11 times. So I was already really, I was just checked out. But I thought about it, and I'm like, well, maybe they'll have an easy way to ascend. Because 6-star Ascension is pretty easy. All you got to do is just use Ascension Dust. And I figured if that's how they were going to do it, that's fine. But then they added the idea of cluster drops and how they come out of crystals. And it's a different crystal. It's basically like a 8-star crystal, but it's for Ascension. And there's a limited champion pool. So all this combined together, I was just really worried. And then it launched. And at the beginning of its launch, I will say 7-star Ascension was terrible. I hated the idea of Ascension at the launch. But as of now, a couple months after, I am actually okay with Ascension, but I do believe they need to make some really crucial tweaks to make Ascension last forever, because a lot of people have already quit the game because of it, but I think Ascension is actually a great thing for the game. They just need to make some tweaks to it to basically make it perfect. Because nothing's going to be perfect, but you want to be as close to perfect as humanly possible. That being said, we'll go ahead and look at Maestro. He's my only rank 2 Ascended champion, and that's because you got him for free, basically, from doing a bunch of content. Actually, we'll pull up the upgrade list. He is Ascended 2. Oh, I can't pull up the upgrade list because he's Ascended 2. All right, we'll go to Hitmonkey. Sorry. There's only 2 Ascensions right now. But the way you get Ascensions is very difficult. You would theoretically have to pull the champ 3 times out of an Ascension Crystal. I have pulled, I think, 3 champs twice, but I have not pulled a single champ 3 times yet. So, that being said, if this scales with each level, now they might do it differently, and they might just keep it you have to pull them 2 times for each level, which I think is fine. But I personally believe they should just stop at Ascension Level 2. They should just erase 11 levels of Ascension and just make it Ascension Level 2. Because basically, 2 Ascensions is a rank and like an 8th. You are just barely higher. So if you have we'll say a rank 5, let's say if Maestro was rank 4, because he's rank 3. But if you have a rank 5 Ascended 2 Maestro, he's basically a rank 6 and a little bit. So almost just a rank 6 and a little bit because of the might bar and because of the power level and all that. So they're basically just a rank advantage and a little bit. Kind of like how 6-stars were, but 6-stars didn't have might bars and all that. But that being said, I believe if they stop at Ascension like this, it's fine. I believe it is a good mechanic. We only need 2 levels. I don't believe the 11 level system is good at all. But that being said, there would be an issue, and this is the issue that they didn't want to happen in the first place, is once you have those 2 levels, your champion's basically maxed out. So how do they keep from 8 stars? Well, I don't think you can at this point. I think if you want the game to live good, if Kabam wants the game to live well, you cannot do away with 8 stars, because at the rate they're going right now, it is not looking good for a free-to-play player and a lot of players. I mean, look at this. I don't spend the most insane amount of money on the game. I really haven't spent any money this year. And I've done all the content, and I have 17 Ascended champs. 17. And let's look at all these champs to see what I have ranked up. I have Spider-Man, who is a free Ascension that I got from pulling him, ranked up. Stellar, it was a free from a challenge, ranked up. Howard the Duck, I just ranked him up because I pulled his Ascension. He was already ranked 2. Hitmonkey is a box champion. Out of all these champions from the base crystal, I have pulled Adam Warlock, which is a great pull from the base crystal. Arguably Howard the Duck. I've pulled Toad twice. If I pull him one more time, that'd be pretty hype. And I've pulled maybe Bishop and Spiral. Well, Spiral is a box champion. So actually, basically, I've pulled 2 or 3 champions from the box that I actually like. That I actually have ranked up. That's a big issue. Because look at all these other champions. Like Patriot, I'm never going to use. Mojo, I might rank up. Jabari Panther, never going to use. Vision is one of those champions I've pulled twice. Probably never going to use. High Evolutionary, I don't know if I'll ever use them. Yeah, they just did Ascension completely wrong. In my opinion, I think they launched Ascension way too early. Ascension should have been launched when rank 6 7-stars were a thing. They should have launched it as rank 6s were coming out through the end of that year. When rank 6s, basically the July 4th event of rank 6s. So in a year from now is what I would call the Rank 6 July 4th event, if that makes sense. So this year's July 4th event will be the Rank 5s. You'll buy a bunch of Rank 5s at July 4th. I believe July 4th of Rank 6 is when they should have launched the idea of 7-star Ascension, and then that October bring it in and maybe for Banquet have Ascension. But that being said, they launched it way too early, so now they're either going to have to do with the 11 levels or they're going to have to go with 8 stars. And they already said they don't want to go with 8 stars, so they're going to do with the 11 levels. And we don't know how it's going to work. So it could just be 2 pulls for each level. But even at that, unless you have a way to get champion tokens, unless there becomes a way to get champion tokens, like buy them from Radiant Store or something like that, for like Hitmonkey, unless there's a way to buy these champion tokens, that's not good. Let's just say theoretically it is 2 for each rank after rank 1. You would have to pull a champ 20 times from an Ascension Crystal. 20 times. If you pulled a champ 20 times from a 7-star basic, they would be SIG 400. Technically, they'd be SIG 380, but assuming you already have them because you already pulled them once, you would have to pull them technically 21 times. So if you pulled a champ 21 times from a 7-star basic, they would be SIG 400. That means you would have pulled them 10 times max duped. That is insane. That is not good. That is not good. So considering the Ascension Crystals, which they will become less rare as time goes on, they are, and I will talk about that later. They've done a great job of distributing those crystals out, but I've only opened, let's look, not counting the empowered crystals I've pulled, the dupes. So let's just take into a fact that I've not pulled a single Ascension from an empowered crystal, which is a lie. I've pulled multiple. Let's look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 ascendable champions from that pool. If I was to pull the same champion every single time, I wouldn't even be able to max rank them at Ascension level 11. That is not good at all. That is a terrible system. Which I'm looking at it current day, how it is set. In the future, the game will develop and it will get to the point where these crystals probably aren't as hard to access, or there's ways to ascend them there's different means to ascend them. But as of right now, it does not look good. Ascension does not look good. I will say, kind of contradictory, because as of right now, Ascension is actually in a pretty good spot. I actually like it right this instant, but they need to just stop with Ascension. If they stopped with Ascension, I'd be perfectly fine with it. I would just see it as a swing and miss by Kabam, and they could just slowly release new ascendable champions. I just feel like this is a very, very bad idea to release it this early. That's just basically all it boils down to, the timing of Ascension. You could have made Ascension basically prolong an 8-star for 1 extra year, and I think people would have been fine with that. I personally would have been fine with that, but I like the ideas of 8 stars. I like it way more than Ascension. That being said, right now Ascension is cool and it's fun, but I just don't see how it's going to scale in the future. And that's just something I don't know. I don't work for Kabam. I don't know anything about that. So maybe it does scale well, because there's a lot of things in the game that actually do scale pretty well, and they do good the rest of throughout their life cycle. But as of right now, I'm really worried about Ascension. I don't know how they're going to make it work. Just because I haven't even pulled every champ in the game either. If I wanted, like, one of my target pulls is Baron Zemo. My most wanted is Baron Zemo. He's my favorite skill champion in the game. One of the best skill champions, in my opinion, in the game. Probably the best skill champion. Actually, he is. I did it on the tier list. I've not pulled his Ascension. And if I wanted him to be the highest level in today's current game, I have to pull him 3 times. And I have to pull him once. You have to pull him once. And I have to pull him 3 times to make him the highest level. 3 times. I have to pull him once. That's not good. That is not good. They have to just, I think they have to just quit with 7-star Ascension. I believe if they stop now while they're ahead and just keep adding people to the pool, I believe they can kind of get by with that. They can just kind of understand, hey, we didn't do this right. Let's just kind of stop and just start adding champions to the pool and make it just a separate thing, kind of like a Titan Crystal or like a Relic Crystal. Just make it a Shard Crystal. Just make it a separate thing, separate rewards. But or just completely change the Ascension system to where it's kind of like the 6-star Ascensions, where you are able to pick whatever champion you want to ascend. 6-star Ascensions did it perfectly, where you didn't have to have these bullcrap tokens. You could just ascend them with 200 dust. Just make it a 500, or make it just even 1,000 dust for a level. That's perfectly fine. And just make dust easier to come by. That's all they got to do. I hate this system and how RNG it is, and especially if they're going to do it for 11 levels. I don't see how they're going to be able to make it work. But that's basically my 7-star Ascension rant. I've already ranted on it for 10 minutes. I can make a whole hour-long video on Ascension and why I hate it, but I kind of want to keep it short, even though I didn't. But please, if you want to hear more about my thoughts on Ascension, I can make a longer video just talking about straight-up Ascension and how I believe I can make it better and what needs to happen. But that's just me right off the dome talking about Ascension. But yeah, so basically my final thoughts. Ascension right now, current day, is not in a bad place. They've done a great job of... Oh, that's one more thing. They've done a great job of releasing the Empowered Crystals and the Greater Empowered Crystals. Nowadays, you can get those pretty easy. And collectibles are coming, where there are just going to be more ways to earn Ascensions. So, it's not hard to earn those Ascensions nowadays, but it's just hard to just take a character up you want. But yeah, I believe current day Ascension right now, it's not in a terrible spot. It's way better than it was back then when it first launched, but the future of it is not looking good at all. So yeah, that's basically 7-star Ascension. Shortest way I can do it or talk about it. Also, the Coliseum just dropped, it looks like. Cool. Be able to get another blade piece. But a little bit off topic. Next up, another topic I want to talk about is actually Battlegrounds. So, Battlegrounds, you have seen this is another reason a lot of people have quit. Battlegrounds is not what it once was. And I've always felt like Battlegrounds has kind of been behind. It always has been behind. Before, it's only got one rewards update since that I remember, and the rewards before that were terrible. Then they updated it, and they weren't bad. They were good for that current day. They were pretty equal with other content rewards, if that makes sense, but they weren't any better. I feel like if they were going to tune it up, they should have made it better. So nowadays, when the content is here, they're here. But now, Battlegrounds has been left behind, and all the content is just rising. And it's just not fun anymore. It just feels like an absolute grind every season for bad rewards. I can't pull it up here because we're in the off season. But it's just it's a 7-star crystal, it's a Titan, and it's some 7-star basics. Those rewards aren't that great. There should be multiple Titans, multiple 7-star crystals, 7-star Nexus should be in there. There should just be different rewards, and you should be able to pick your rewards. And I don't know. I just don't think BGs is it anymore. I used to change my deck, or I used to rank up champions based on BGs, but I really haven't anymore because there's just no point. I believe BGs is in a very bad state right now. People are leaving the game because there's just... you get Radiance, which is a good thing, but the Radiance store is so outdated that's not even worth it. And Essentia, of course, the Essentia drama was wild, where they launched Ascension, and that went terrible. I just don't believe Battlegrounds is in a good state. The rewards aren't good, and it takes too long to grind through. For the casual player, it's going to be hard for them to hit the GC every single season, especially with pieces like the Blade piece that is in the GC. You have to get to GC to get this. That is a grind for a lot of free-to-play players that are just casual players that want that Blade. They have to go through Battlegrounds, which is very toxic, has a bunch of whales in it that just are in BGs that have really, really big decks like mine, and they struggle to get through it. So I believe Battlegrounds needs a big overhaul. They need a rewards overhaul. Yeah, I think they really need to work on Battlegrounds, or just take a step back from it. Just kind of leave it on that back burner, which they have been. But Battlegrounds is fun. It can be fun, but it just hasn't been recently. But that's my Battlegrounds rant. Another thing I want to talk about is actually AQ, which AQ isn't on right now. It's actually the Coliseum. I like that there's 4 different modes. The only issue is, why are AQ rewards still terrible? Now, Coliseum rewards are bad. Raid rewards are very outdated. AQ and AQ Rampant rewards are bad. They are absolutely terrible. Why are they still terrible in 2026? Why are we still getting Tier 5 Alpha? Oh, wait, no. Tier 5 Basics, sorry. Tier 2 Alpha. Why are we still getting those Catalyst rewards in 2026? I get you get a little bit of Radiance every week, but it doesn't amount to that much in the Radiant store. AQ just needs a complete rework. Or rewards overhaul, at least. I've been doing AQ for the last 3 years, and I guarantee I've probably obtained 5 Tier 5 basic catalyst from AQ over those last 3 years. The rewards are absolutely terrible. I just don't get it. I don't. The only reason my AQ does it is it's just because it's just a thing to do. I don't. We could seriously stop doing AQ and I would be fine with it and just do Coliseum, because even raid rewards are pretty bad nowadays. For exploring a raid, you get a 7-star crystal. A 7-star crystal. That should at least be a Nexus, an Epoch Nexus, a Class Selector Nexus, something. Or it should just be a Titan Crystal. You should not be, I don't know. AQ rewards just need an update. They absolutely need an update. Now the Coliseum rewards, they are pretty good. Coliseum rewards, really, really great. Really, really solid, actually. But AQ and raids, they really need a rewards update. It's just, I feel like Kabam is really, really behind on rewards in every single category. And I get it. They can't make everything the best reward in the game because then they lose value on certain resources. But that being said, we kind of find a good balance. But yes, that is kind of what I wanted to talk about today. It kind of feels like I just took 20 minutes just to shit on Kabam. And I really didn't want it to sound like that. I just kind of will go over my biggest gripes with the game. I will say, we'll actually end this on this. The game is actually not in that great of a spot, or it has been in that great of a spot at the beginning of the year, but over the coming months, it has been inclining. I believe the game has been getting better and better, and I believe current day, the game is actually in a pretty decent state. I believe if I was to rate it out of 10, the beginning of the year, I would probably say 4 or 5 out of 10. Right now is a 7.5, and we're still climbing. I will say, the Karina challenges are some of the most fun I've ever had playing this game. I'm not even joking. I obviously can't show them because I've done them all, but the Karina challenges for the hero and villains, those were some of the most fun I've ever had in this game. And it was just a simple challenge. The rewards were great. They were just a good time. I got to stream and talk to you all. 9.4 was really, really fun. It was a great conclusion. So they just need to keep adding stuff like that to make the game fresh and new. Coliseum this go around, Solo Coliseum, has been absolutely amazing. I've loved both bosses. They've been fun. They're not too difficult, but they're difficult enough to where you give you a little bit of challenge, but you also aren't just clearing 3 health bars every time. We have not yet to see the last 2, but I can assume this Ebony Maw is going to suck, but this Airwalker probably won't be that terrible. But yeah, I believe the game right now hasn't been terrible. But we still need a lot out of Kabam. 7-star Ascension, we need that tuned. Battlegrounds, we just need a complete rework for Battlegrounds. AQ, we just need better rewards. And yeah, that's basically going to sum up my state of the game as of the beginning of May 2026. I also would like to say the champion releases this year have been pretty cool. I liked all the champions being released this year. And next month's champions, spoiler alert, Ghost Rider and Wave look absolutely sick. So I will say they have been doing really great on that front, and the content has been doing pretty good. But as of right now, I believe Kabam has a lot of work to do, but they are not in the worst state they could be in. And I believe the game is going to a pretty good place. I just hope they can stick the landing to that place. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.